Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. And one review, because another movie review I also wanted to review for quite some time as well. And I pretty much reviewed it's the second in this trilogy. I reviewed the first one a long time, basically when I first started the channel, right? And never, as far as within 10 years now, I haven't got a chance to review the film. But yeah, it's the second film in the Cornetto trilogy from Edgar Wright. So yeah, so the first one was Shaun of the Dead, which I'll have to review sometime because I love Shaun of the Dead. But the second I'll be reviewing is finally get a chance to review, and that is of Hot Fuzz. I love Shaun of the Dead, and I also love Hot Fuzz. I always had such a fun time watching this film. Once again, with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost corroborating together, it's just they're besties, best friends, and I really enjoyed the first two. The third one, The World's End, with them again and Nick and Edgar Wright coming back to direct. I wasn't really fan. I mean, when I first started, I think I said I liked the movie, but as time went on, my thoughts on the film now have gone pretty much dwindled on that though. So, I mean, I love the first two movies. I love Hot Fuzz. I love Shaun of the Dead though. But World's End is really just my interest of it dwindled over the past 10 years since I saw it. But I still enjoy Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Really enjoy these two, especially Simon Pegg. I really like Simon Pegg a lot. And they also started together in a kind of comedy film called Paul, which was from the directors of Superbad, right? I mean, Seth Rogen voices the alien Paul, and you also got Sigourney Weaver, Jason Bateman in there, which I think I like. I remember liking Paul because I enjoy our two leads. But Hot Fuzz came out in 2007. Got a lot of critical praise. It's a 91% Rotten Tomatoes. It's 7.8 IMDb. And I had a lot of fun with the film. Of course, they play with a lot of homage to action films, and it does have some horror elements into it, right? A couple of gory bits, and which that was a nice touch to it, but especially the homage to action films as well. So the film opens up with Simon Pegg, who plays Constable Nicholas Angel. He's like this super cop. He's done perfect everything at his job. He has the highest arrest record, and pretty much a lot of everything in his job. And then you have three of the higher ups on the police service. You have Martin Freeman, which he's appeared in the MCU as Agent Ross. Of course, Bilbo from the Hobbit movies. Then you got Steve Coogan, who's from Tropic Thunder, Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan. The Night at the Museum movies as Octavius. And then you got the Chief Inspector, played by Bill Nighy, who played Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. Of course, he was also worked with Edgar Wright in the Shaun of the Dead, and also later in World's End. And of course, he also appeared in Pokemon Detective Pikachu, among many other movies as well. Bill Nighy. Including the Underworld movies. I forget the Underworld films. So yes, we get some more noticeable actors like them and Bill Nighy, Steve Coogan, Martin Freeman. Like they say, he's too good at his job. That he's so good that he was gonna put the others out of a job, so they reassigned him to a town in Sanford. It's a place a small town in the country. So they move him out there. Before he do that, he also got cameo appearances as well. During the opening montage of him doing his job, you see him get stabbed in the hand by a guy dressed as Santa Claus. That's actually director Peter Jackson. Really enough. Peter Jackson, director of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies, and King Kong from 2005. He dresses as Santa Claus. He's the one who stabs Simon Pegg in the hand. And then you have before he leaves, there's this crime scene at this place where everyone's dressed almost like in hazmat suits, right? The woman he's talking to is actually is played by Kate Blanchett, later starred in Spielberg's Kingdom of the Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and he's also, of course, among other films too. Like, there's a funny part where he walks in, he tells I'm going away for a few days, and then he's like, Janine, so that was her name. It's like, he goes to one person who dressed because they're all wearing the same hazmat suits. Like, I'm not Janine, that's Janine. And then he's going, and then saying where she's going out with another guy, one of them also wearing the suits, right? It's like, is it him? I forgot the guy's name, but no, not him. It's Dave. The other guy, another guy in the suit who goes, hello. Just how the way he says hello, it just made me laugh. Because like they're all wearing the suits. Like, no, it's not him. It's Dave, or whatever the guy's name is. Like, hello. So he goes to Sanford, and then he walks around the town. Of course, there's with Nick Frost, who plays Danny, and he's at this pub, and he sees a lot of these underage kids asking what's their birthday since they're drunk, right? Pretty much kicks all of them out because they're all underage, and so he takes Nick Frost in because he's drunk. and so the next morning, he goes in, which Danny's a police officer, and his father is the inspector. The inspector, named Frank, is played by Jim Broadbent, who is also seen from Around the World in 80 Days, as well with Jackie Chan. He's also been seen in the Harry Potter films. He had a small role also in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as well. He plays the inspector, Frank, Danny's dad, and saying how this Sanford is the safest village in the country. Basically no crime at all, because he's like there's like nothing in the evidence locker because there's no crime, and no riots because there's a bunch of riot gear that's all basically covered in cobwebs. And then he introduces it also to the staff as well, like these two detectives are both named Andrew, and all these other police officers as well, and they go like the nod to action films, like when Nick Frost is asking Simon Pegg, it's like, you ever fired 2 guns? Was drop them to the air? No. Have you ever fired 1 gun? Was drop them to the air? No. Have you been in high-speed pursuit? Yes, I have. Have you fired a gun once in high-speed pursuit? No. And he's asking about other action films as well. Have you seen Die Hard 2? Bad Boys 2? Or Lethal Weapon? No. You ain't seen Bad Boys 2. So it's like because Danny Nick Frost, he's a big fan of action films. That's why he's asking all these questions. And like even before they were talking to the post, like, have you seen a play of action? What was it like being stabbed? Because like I said, he's a big fan of action. So, and also get more recognizable faces. I mean, you have Timothy Dalton, former James Bond, Timothy Dalton from License to Kill and The Living Daylights. Which I always liked Timothy Dalton as James Bond. Of course, always my favorite is Sean Connery as well, but I thought Timothy Dalton was a very decent James Bond movie. I liked Timothy Dalton. And he was also having fun in this role as well as Simon Skinner. Also recognizable actors, you have Paul Freeman, who played in this. He's the Reverend. He played Balak from Indiana Jones: Raiders of the Lost Ark. And he also played Ivan Ooze from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. Yeah, Ivan Ooze. So he plays as the Reverend. Another guy named Stuart Wilson. He's the guy who's the doctor. Stuart Wilson. He played the bad guy in Lethal Weapon 3. He was the corrupt cop in Lethal Weapon 3. Of course, he was also in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 as well. But I mostly remember him from Lethal Weapon 3 as Travis. So a couple of recognizable faces, and so then there's nothing to do in this town because there's basically not much going on. Like he has to find a swan, or he's doing stuff for a newspaper. Not much is going on, and like he's always trying to look for something that's always going on, but there isn't. Then he goes to the supermarket where he chases a guy stealing biscuits. Probably is another British term for cookies. Because they're cookies, but they call it biscuits. So, and Simon Skinner doesn't want to press charges when he catches him. And of course, when he's chasing the guy, of course you get the nod from Shaun of the Dead with the fences. You ever taken a shortcut before? But this time he jumps all over him, does like a super jump, and Nick Frost goes and crashes right through one, clumsily climbs over one. That was always been funny to me. And then he gets like a couple of horror elements in this, because there's a person dressed in all black who has an axe, decapitates these two actors, which earlier that Nicholas Angel pulled over for a speeding ticket. But you get some good gory bits. Like later you see the aftermath, like the killers, they staged it to look like an accident, like a car accident, or they call it traffic collision. But they stage it. But you get like you see them their decapitated heads, practical. And then they're trying to investigate this other guy who found all these guns. And the guy I recognize who speaks like this, like this older cop speaks the same way, right? Which Danny understands, right? But the guy I recognize, he was also in Harry Potter. He's the guy who's like the janitor of the school. He has that cat with him. I forget that character's name though, but I know he was that character in the Harry Potter series. And they find all these guns, including a sea mine, and they all put in the evidence locker. Which also, like this, probably some people don't recognize that they do a nod for the trailer from Lethal Weapon, the music in the trailer, which I know some people probably won't. Because who's gonna watch a trailer for Lethal Weapon, right? But I do. I've watched a lot of trailers, and I know that the music they use from Lethal Weapon in the trailer for that, they use that when they find all the guns, put it in the evidence locker, right? And that was good. That was a good montage, because this film pays like some montages for action films as well. So after that, they go to the pub, have a few drinks. They carry this little guy to his big mansion, and then you get the murderer goes and whacks him in the head with a pipe, and they once again stage it to look like an accident. And then when they blow up his house, and while that's going on, like they go to Danny's place, and he has all of these action films. Of course, he picks out his two favorites. One is Bad Boys 2 and Point Break, which I enjoy. Bad Boys 2. It's one of my favorite Michael Bay films. Point Break, I know that this may sound stupid to me though, but as a guy who likes action films of the 90s though, and despite I love Keanu Reeves, I love Patrick Swayze, Gary Busey. That film has a stacked cast in Point Break from 1991. It's directed by Catherine Bigelow, who later directed The Hurt Locker, which I enjoyed, Zero Dark 30. Point Break I wasn't particularly big on though. I know a lot of people like it as an action film though, but I wasn't really big on Point Break, honestly. I just don't know why. Even despite though, like the cast, I enjoyed them. I love Keanu Reeves. I love Patrick Swayze. Rest in peace. Gary Busey, and even the late Tom Sizemore has a small appearance in that movie. I just don't know what about Point Break that I just didn't get though. But I'll have to review that sometime later though. I haven't watched it quite a while though, but I'll have to review it sometime later though. But I get why they put Point Break in there, because a lot of people like that as an action film, so I do understand the concept. Because later, towards the end of the movie, when Nick Frost was going to shoot his father, he does the same thing, the homage of what Keanu Reeves did in Point Break, when he was going to shoot him, and he ends up shooting up in the air. I totally understand why they put Point Break in there. Totally understand that, though. But even not in Bad Boys 2, right? Later during the shootout in the town, right? And there's a camera pan of them and the camera circling around them as a nod to Bad Boys 2. That supposed accident at the George Merchant's house, the guy who got blown up, like even the cops are just like treating Nicholas like crap, especially the detectives, Wright, which they're both called Andrew, right? One of them is actually played by Rafe Spall, which later he starred in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom as the guy Mills, who is one who organized bring all the dinosaurs to the Lockwood Mansion. Later, he gets torn in half by the Carnotaur and the T-Rex at the end. That guy. He plays one of the detectives named Andrew. So he has, that's in which he had a small role, of course, in Shaun of the Dead, of course. But later on, he will later star in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom as the character Mills. And then also the other guy, who's also the other detective, also named Andrew, Paddy, something I forget. He will later go and start in at World's End as well. But those are the ones that have been treating Nicholas Angel like crap mostly, because they're not believing him. Oh, even though he seems they call these are murders, they don't believe in it's murder because there hasn't been a murder in how many years. So they don't believe him until towards the end of the movie they do. And so then there's this fair they're having, and you get this reporter by the name of Tim Messenger who wants to talk with Nicholas Angel, but they get once again a very gory bit where it's the goriest part of the movie where the killer or killers, killers. If people have seen Hot Fuzz by now, probably know what's going on. Yeah, but they push this part of the church when they're on the roof, this spiky part of the structure of the church. They push it down, and huge gore. Most of it's done practical. Just lands right on the character of Tim Messenger, and his head just explodes like just bloody gory, and the thing is still stuck in the body, and just the head just explodes. Which a lot of it looked at was done practical. I'm like, oh damn it! That is so sick and gory. And the body is still standing for a couple more seconds till it falls down. I'm like, damn, that is a good. That is easily the goriest part of the movie. And so they're trying to figure out that these are murders, not accidents. You know, he keeps on saying they're murders, not accidents, but they don't believe him. And then they're trying, and then he talks to this one woman who he was going to get some flowers for Danny. And the murderer takes the shears and stabs into the woman's neck. He sees it, gives it a chase to the person, but he couldn't keep up though. They get away, and so he suspects that it's Timothy Dalton, which I think they're trying to do that on purpose to make us fool as the audience, try to fool him, or trying to fool us as the audience, thinking because Timothy Dalton, the way his character is, they try to make us look like he's the obvious. Trying to make him look obvious, like he's the guilty one, obviously. If it makes any sense, he's trying to make us think that, he's the guilty one because he looks the most suspicious. You know, how the way he's grinning, it's just like, as Simon Pegg is telling him, how you were the ones who orchestrated all this, right? But this couldn't find no evidence on him. And then when he gets back to his hotel room, another figure attacks him, and it's the big, huge guy, Lurch, who works at the supermarket with Simon Skinner. He distracts him with the toy monkey and hits him over the head with his plant. So he goes back to the church and finds that the cult, it's just the NWA, the Neighborhood Watch Association. Everyone, besides all the town elders, are part of the Neighborhood Watch. They're basically a cult, right? They're the ones who killed all these people, and they kill these people for the stupidest reasons, which some is like, has a look on his face of what, like, you murdered him for that? Like, they kill the guy, the actor, Martin Blower is his name, and the young girl, because first of all, they kill Martin Blower because he's a bad actor. They kill his young lover because she had an annoying laugh. The George Merchant, the small guy in the big mansion, because he had an awful house because his house was not keeping up with the whole village's rustic aesthetic. How the look of the old villages of the town was. So they killed him for that. They killed Tim Messenger because he keeps on making bad, poor edits in his newspapers. And the Leslie Taylor, the woman who owns the flower shop, because she was gonna leave town and thinking that she's gonna share all of her flower knowledge of all these other townspeople. They couldn't have that. And then it's like Simon's like, how can this be for the greater good? And they all keep saying the greater good. And he goes, shut it! These people died for no reason whatsoever. Reveal is that, which I kind of knew because there's no way he could know what was going on, right? The leader of the group is Frank, Danny's father. He's the one who's the leader of all this because since his wife died, because the reason why they're behind all they're doing is because they want to make this because of the Village of the Year contest. They want to make, because it won Village of the Year how many years in a row, I would say, and thinking this is the perfect village, and it all happened since his wife she's one who dedicated herself to making the perfect village right for the contest. But some people moved in, they lost, and she committed suicide. And so Jim Broadbent vowed to make this town the perfect every year for the village award. So anything that Danny is in on it, right? He stabs Simon Pegg, but it turns out he saved him by putting some ketchup in his notepad, make it think he stabbed him. So he leaves town, but he looks over the thing of action films, including especially Point Break and Bad Boys 2. So, and the last 30 minutes of this movie is when it kicks off just action, because it kicks old ladies in the face, and then you get the shoot off in town square. All the elders, they all got guns, are shooting at and then Nick Frost helps him shoot their partners, so they're all shooting together. And what is funny thing is, they don't kill all the people. They don't kill all the old people in town. They shoot them, they injure them though, but they don't kill them, which I thought was kind of a refreshing take though, right? Because they're police officers. They're not murderers like them. They're police officers. They uphold the law. They're not vigilantes like the Punisher. So that was kind of an interesting way of doing things. They don't kill them. They arrest them. Which later you see all their mugshots, so they know that they've been arrested, which they're going to probably, because they're old people, they're probably just going to die in prison anyway, so. But I really like that, though. They didn't kill them. Although one of the guys, one of the guy who run the pub, he got like a huge bear trap trapped across, like this, across him. And some fun shootouts. I mean, with Stuart Wilson, like he got shot in the leg earlier with a BB gun by Danny, but then when he throws the shotgun, shoots, blasts his whole, pretty much all of his toes off, and then goes says, "You're a doctor, deal with it." And then you get that, and then Danny's like, "Yeah, motherfucker." And then you get the camera circle shot of like the nod to Bad Boys 2. And then like Paul Freeman, Ivan Ooze and Bullock from Power Rangers and Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like, oh, fuck off, Grasshopper. He has some hidden guns and shoots Nicholas, but he has a bulletproof vest on. He has some very fun shootouts. And then that's when the other cops, all the cops of the precinct, they believe Nicholas Angel that Frank and the other people were responsible for the murders. I mean, I know it's probably the point that to make him unlikable and not believe Nicholas in the first place. I think that's kind of the point, though. But maybe it is like a nitpick, though. Maybe that was the point, to make him unlikable up until the point when they do finally believe him. But that's not overall an issue for me. I mean, because I like all these characters, because but even though those supposed to be, maybe it's the point of writing them to make it unlikable until they finally believe him. And so then they go to the supermarket. Simon Pegg fights with the Lurch guy again, and he slips and falls in the freezer. And Danny's like, "Who's in the freezer? Did you say cool off?" "No." "Shame." And then as we get the car chase with Timothy Dalton and Jim Broadbent, they swirl off the road because there's the Swan. They don't want to hit it. And then Simon Pegg has a good pretty much a fisticuffs with Timothy Dalton in this miniature of the village. He's like, Timothy Dalton's like, "Get out of my village!" And then, "It's not your village anymore." And then Timothy Dalton, he was going to charge him with a box cutter. Then he slips, and he gets another good bit where one of those pointy it's a model of the church, but with the pointy ends. Gets it right through his chin, right out of his mouth. Nice bloody bit right there. And he's like, "Oh, that really hurt. I'm gonna need some ice cream." And then that's what I mentioned earlier. Then you get the moment where Danny, Nick Frost, who was going to try to shoot his father, but to do the nod to Point Break, where he shoots up in the air going, "Ah." Which a question he asked Simon Pegg earlier. He's like, "Do you ever fire a gun up in the air and going, ah?" "No, I've not ever fired my gun up in the air and going, ah." That's another moment that my brother likes. That's one thing that that's another one that my brother agree on. We both enjoy this movie. That's one of the things that he always laughs at. He's like, "No, I've not ever fired my gun up in the air and gone, ah." I know he laughed. He laughed at that moment too. So hey, like I said, my brother can agree on. We both enjoy this movie. That's one thing we do agree on. So I guess we're not always butting heads all the time. And so then the rest of the police come in, like, you know, Bill Nighy, Steve Coogan, Martin Freeman. They finally, because they've been trying to reach him, but he hasn't been calling him back. And they want him to come back to London, but he says, you know, I'd rather stay here because he likes it here. And as they're doing all this paperwork and all the mugshots of all the town elders, except for one guy who's part of the neighborhood watch too, is Wright. He was going to shoot Simon Pegg, but Danny jumps in. He takes the hit, and then Simon Pegg kicks a bucket at the guy's head, and he falls on top of the sea mine, and then it blows up. And he's like, "Oh God, no!" Well, he's the only one of all those old people. He's the only one that died because he was right underneath it. So obviously he died from the explosion. Of course, obviously. So of all the town elders, he's the one that gets blown up, and the whole police station explodes. Looks like a good practical explosion of the police station blowing up. And then, of course, so it goes to a year later. They're thinking, oh, it's him, Danny, that's buried, but no, it's his mother. Fake, obvious fake out. And now Nicholas Angel, he's now the new police chief, and Danny is promoted to sergeant. Yeah, so I love Hot Fuzz. I really love the movie. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, they were all just, once again, just always just fun together. I love them from Shaun of the Dead. I haven't liked them in Paul, World's End, I mean, my interest, my liking of the movie has dwindled over the years to the point I probably just don't care for it, though. That's easily the least favorite of this trilogy here, though. But I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, even though Simon Pegg, he also held right on all these movies, though. But regardless, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Simon Pegg. From one of the positive things I like. One of the few positive things I get from the new Star Trek movies. I like Simon Pegg's version of Scotty. I'm not a fan of those new movies of Star Trek, though. But one of the positives I can give is Simon Pegg as Scotty. I liked him in the Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, even in Paul. I liked him in the Mission Impossible movies when he voiced Buck from Ice Age. Hello, mammals. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Simon Pegg, But yeah, but like I said, I enjoy the movie. Edgar Wright, he once again did a good job directing. I mean, another film I really enjoyed him when a film he made was in 2017. That was Baby Driver. I really enjoyed Baby Driver. Last Night of the Soho, I wasn't really big on. Last Night of the Soho. And of course, which I would love to see his version of the first Ant-Man movie back in 2015. The first Ant-Man movie, which he was originally going to direct, but he fought over the creative differences with the people at Marvel. Same thing with Scott Derrickson, the second Doctor Strange movie. He wanted to make it more of a horror film, but no. But like I said, I would like to see his version of the first Ant-Man movie. I would like to see that version. So yeah, Edgar Wright, I think once again he did a good job. He did a great job directing, like he did with Shaun of the Dead in this film. Like I said, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, once again, absolute fun together. Obviously the nods to action films, and I enjoy the horror elements, especially the oh shit gory moments, especially with the character Tim Messenger when his head exploded when that thing just fell on him. Like I said, the nods to action films, including the music used from the trailer, the first Lethal Weapon. Which again, people probably wouldn't notice that though, but when you watch trailers like I do, you would. And I just had a lot of fun with this. I love Hot Fuzz. Always had a blast watching this film, like I did with Shaun of the Dead. I always had fun with the movie. I always enjoy Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Nick Frost was the only one of the positive things I can say about when he later started on the show Into the Badlands. Hey, because my dad, he watched it, not me though. But because it's Nick Frost, that's cool. Into the Badlands. But yeah, I love Hot Fuzz. always had a blast watching this film. And the film is like, it's easily fast paced. It says it's 2 hours and 1 minute minus end credits, so, but it goes at a very, very fast paced. Because I've watched this film so many times and I never got bored with it once, and it always went at a fast pace despite being like without end credits under 2 hours. It always felt so fast paced for me. Easily fast paced. But yeah, that's my review for Hot Fuzz. I love the film. So thanks for watching. Which I had reason why I chose this one, because I had to just get, I had to recover from watching 2 atrocious movies, from the 5th Indiana Jones film and the Flash movie. Jeez. That was just like, those are 2 abysmals in a row, that from this year, 2 of the worst ones I've seen this year. I just had to go back and watch something that I had absolute fun with, which those films had no fun at all whatsoever. See, this is a film that's like 2 hours, but this was very fast paced, and I love much more likable characters, action, everything, and humor as well. Fuck Indiana Jones 5, and fuck the Flash movie. This here, I can watch this 10 times over than those movies, and I would never get bored with it. I always had a lot of fun with this movie, and I need to say, especially, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are much better actors than frickin' Ezra Miller is. Fuck Ezra Miller. He's a piece of trash of a human being. These 2 are easily much better actors than frickin' Ezra Miller is. So yeah, I had to get that out of my system because I had to watch something that's fun, I can enjoy, and I still do today. Yeah, 2007 it came out, so 16 years. Can't believe that. 16 years. But I was like, fun, had a blast with the film. And I love Shaun of the Dead. I'll have to review that sometime. But yeah. That's my review for Hot Fuzz. Still love the film. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see more episode reviews coming up, and we'll see you next time. Later. And plus, also, once again, if you haven't seen Hot Fuzz, give it a watch. Or if you're a fan of director Edgar Wright or a fan of any of these 2, give Hot Fuzz a watch. If you love Shaun of the Dead as well, I really advise you to watch this film. You'll have a lot of fun. You will not be disappointed with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.